I'm 30 years old, and my life sucks. There you go. I said it. If you'd gone back in time and asked 11 or 12-year-old me, what did you want to do? What did you want to be when you're older? I might have given various different answers like, I want to be a celebrity, I want to be a rock star, I want to be a rich and successful musician or an actor or someone who has a really successful job and lots of money, married and children. I guess the answer may have changed depending on what time you'd asked him, but suffice it to say, it's unlikely that he would have said, I want to be chronically depressed, living at home with my mom and my sisters and my brother, working a barely above minimum wage job, which I hate, which I can't stand, yet at the same time I can't really afford to leave. Living with loneliness and a deep sense of spiritual unfulfillment. It's unlikely that you would have heard something like that, and yet here we are. I wouldn't say that my circumstances are actually that uncommon, because lately I was inspired to make this video, by the way, because the YouTube algorithm, I don't know if this was intentional or not, has sort of led me down a rabbit hole where I've found myself watching the video logs of many people around the world, usually young men in their 20s or late teens, sat in a car. I'm sat in a van, by the way, because this is what I do as a job. But they're usually sat in their cars, although some of them are sort of wandering around the woods, talking at a conversational pace about how unhappy they are with their lives. And I feel like it's opened my eyes to the fact that a lot of us, we have a tendency to internalize our negative feelings. When bad things happen to us, we're conditioned to believe that as long as we try harder, as long as we put in more effort, and as long as we try to put a positive spin on things, then it will just be temporary, but things will get better. And at the same time, we're also inclined to judge other people who appear to be, who have negative feelings. And a lot of the time, we might feel the need to tell them things like, oh, just go and exercise more. Just make sure you're getting more vitamin D or iron in your diet. Practice mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness meditation. Have you ever tried that? But I think the growing prevalence of people making depressed life vlogs, I'm sure there's a better term for it, but for the sake of conversation, that's what I'm going to call them. I don't believe that the rise in these kinds of video diaries is happening for no reason. As the years have gone by, I've slowly come to realize that the world is actually kind of bad. It's not great. It's not even good. It's actually quite crap. It's very... See, as youngsters, we're programmed to have a certain set of beliefs about how the world works and about how the roles that we ought to play. A lot of things which I'm sure are pretty much universal to most modern countries. You go to school, you work hard, you play by the rules. You don't commit crimes do anything that's bad at the bare minimum. And as long as you do that, as long as you harbor a positive mindset and do the things that you're supposed to do, then all these things will fall into place. Some variation thereof. I can't tell you if this is how things are specifically in the UK, or if it's tied in and linked with the idea of the American dream, or maybe that is just me sort of projecting how I imagine things are. But it doesn't really work out like that, does it? The reality is, well, there's a lot more shades of grey. And there's a lot of complexities and nuances that none of us pick up on as a child. And coming to terms with reality means once you unravel and peel away the lies you've been told, or the half-truths, because there is a kernel of truth to the idea that if you work hard, you'll become successful. What you actually see is that working hard means committing yourself to an insane degree of perfectionism and workaholism. Working every hour of every day, which not everyone is capable of doing. That's the important thing. And it's only those specific people, it's only those people who can shut out all the noise that's going on in their head, who live more or less like a machine. It's the psychopaths, basically. They are the ones who get what they need out of life. But then, to be honest, even that's debatable, because while that will get you things like material gains, while working hard is likely to land you with a good job, a nice house, a nice car, and maybe even a good woman or a good man, depending on which way you swing. I wonder if those people are even content with this world. I believe it was Aldous Huxley who once said, "It is by no means a measure of mental wellness," I'm paraphrasing, how we define normal in relation to a profoundly abnormal or sick society. So you might be mentally well, but if you're living in a society that is absolutely not well, that is not healthy in any way, shape, or form, that is not really a sign of mental stability. Now, objectively, from an objective standpoint, there's lots that I have to be grateful for. So, for instance, I still have, for the most part, a stable family. I mean, I used to have a father, but we lost him a few months back. I've got a roof over my head, all the basic bare necessities of life, things like food and drinks. I have those. I've also got a job. Now, I'm not entirely happy with this job, and it's not as though I don't have dreams of wishing to one day quit. And I have some goals, I have aspirations. I plan to get a better job, which I might talk about in later videos if I'm feeling up for it. But I can't see myself progressing towards any notion of happiness. Each day I feel like I'm on autopilot. I'm always doing the same kinds of things day in, day out. I want to break free and try new things, But mentally, I feel like I'm locked in a prison where I can't venture outside of this set of protocols. As such, my life feels, well, it sort of feels like I'm trapped within a matrix. Like I'm being led to believe psychologically that all the things going on in my life are a consequence of my actions, the things I do and say. But in reality, it's more like this is all a simulation. Like a lot of my behavior is already pre-programmed into me. And I would have to take executive action, or I'd have to really think hard and concentrate if I were to reprogram myself and do different things. And that's partly why I chose to start this video log. Because I want to start being spontaneous and try doing other things. Also, one thing that I ought to make clear: it is possible that my views, my thoughts, my actions, the way I look at life, it might change over time. So I'm setting up this as a means of tracking what my thoughts are and documenting my thoughts, so that maybe years later I can look back and see what's changed and what hasn't. It would be helpful for me to get a better grasp on reality, to make sure that I'm not going insane, that I'm not losing control, and my perception of reality isn't slipping out. Anyway, there's probably more to come. I don't expect that this channel will blow up anytime soon. Part of me is worried that if it does, I might have to start privating my videos. But I just thought I'd get this out there. I apologize that I can't structure my ramblings in a way that makes sense. My mind is quite chaotic. I tend to focus on this thing, then the next thing, in a semi-coherent thread of thoughts which are adjacent to one another in some way. But maybe I'll get better at this the more I practice it. Video logging, probably, it takes a lot of skill to do things like this, to stick to a subject. Maybe I'll have notes sometimes. Maybe I'll be psychologically in a better headspace to do it. But anyway, this has been my first video. I've given you basically a surface level, what's the name, of who I am, what my life is like, and why I'm not happy with it. Anyway, that's all for now. I've got to do my collection soon, so I'll see you guys next time.